Hi, you guys. I'm really excited because today I have one of my favorite people in the whole world on to chat with us about how to maximize your profits in your business by taking your traditional offline business and bringing it online. So today I am joined by one of my favorite humans and longtime clients, Nicole Woodard. I am so excited that you are here. If you don't know her, let me give you a little intro, wicka. She's a doctor of physical therapy. Just take a moment for that. And an orthopedic specialist. But more than that, she is the visionary behind mobility. She has worked with all levels of athletes, from professionals to fitness enthusiasts. And she also holds two other important jobs as mother and wife. So thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm so excited. This is awesome. I can't wait to just talk through this because this has been huge and you have been helping me for almost 2 years now get to this point, and I can't wait to share everything that you have taught me along the way.
Well, I feel like I haven't talked to you in really done a deep dive in what's happening now in your business. So I'm even excited to hear all the updates of all the things that you're working on right now. So for those people who are just meeting you for the first time, you've had this physical in-person business for a long time. How did you start to transition that online, and what does that look like for you?
So what happened really was that I worked at a Division I university and I was commuting about 2 hours and 40 minutes a day. And so whenever I moved away from that location to be closer to my family after my son was born, I wanted to maintain that closeness. So I said, I'll just drive once a month and go see all of those clients. Well, then that once a month really started to grow and grow and grow. And one day a month wasn't working and it was far away. And then I started to learn and see this big telehealth movement happening. And I really thought to myself, what is it that I'm doing that can't be done in an online platform? And a lot of the research for physical therapy really started to show that it wasn't just us putting our hands on people, it was actually them taking control of their own bodies and their own lives and moving properly. And I just really thought, wow, that's a great space to go and empower people and be able to connect with more people from my lovely home.
Yes, I love it. So what exactly is telehealth? Because I actually haven't heard that specific name for it.
Yeah. So telehealth is essentially any health platform that you can get going in. So you can go to the doctor, you can go to the dietitian, you can go to the nurse practitioner, you can go to physical therapy. It's any of those platforms. Even psychologists now are doing it, neurologists are doing it. And it's the ability to get online, either with video chat like what you and I are doing today, or through an app where you can ask questions, anything like that, and you get your questions answered. Sometimes they can still send you medications. They can still prescribe exercise like what I do. So yeah, it's kind of taking your healthcare to the next level.
I love this. And I know, throughout this whole journey of transitioning and integrating this online piece in your business, there have been a lot of objections and people not understanding what this is. So how have you really navigated dealing with these perceptions and objections about what physical therapy is and what going to a doctor is?
Yeah. So the biggest thing, I think, number one, was my own mindset. So I am a super hands-on manual therapist. When you're in with me, I spend 20 to 30 minutes with my hands-on clients.
Yeah.
And so I kept thinking I wasn't going to be good enough in this space. And those were tons of things that you and I worked through together, that I worked through with Manifestation Babe Academy, and really thinking about what are my own objections to myself and diving into that and answering those questions. And so really how I started combating that is I just picked up a few clients and I said, these are only online clients. I met them online through Instagram. And then I kept them online the whole time. And what happened with those clients was revolutionary. They got better, faster, and were more compliant than anyone I'd ever seen in person.
Whoa.
It was awesome.
Shout
And
out to all the in-person clients.
oh yeah, sorry guys. But they loved that connection and that ability to get a hold of me, but they took so much personal responsibility for what they were supposed to be doing. And I said to myself, these people are getting as well as anyone I've ever touched in person. So why am I not reaching out and impacting more people this way? Why am I limiting myself by saying as a physical therapist, I need a whole hour-long appointment, one-on-one, 3 days a week with these people in order to get them better, when maybe that wasn't the actual truth? So finding that other side of the story.
This is so valuable. And I think we can draw some parallels even for those people who have only online businesses, who are insistent that they can only help people one-on-one, and they're afraid to transition to like a course or group program. No. Or they're afraid to hire other people to come in as like support coaches, because it's like, well, if it's not me, then how are they going to get the value? And I think what you're modeling is, scalability and reaching more people. And interestingly enough, the people that you found online are more of your ideal clients, because when you're stuck to a specific location, especially for, clients of mine who are like, well, I live in the middle of nowhere, so there's 1,000 people in my town.
That's me.
How am I supposed to find my people if that's my situation? And you've really just stepped forward and opened up so much more opportunity and created so much more impact through this.
Yeah. And I think too, the thing that really I dealt with a lot was that people don't even understand what physical therapy is as a profession. So then I was if you walk around, and it's actually really fun if anyone wants to try it in general for any profession, but just tell people what you do and have them describe it. So say, shut your eyes and tell me, what does a physical therapist look like? And it's so interesting. And then I would ask them, well, what is it that a physical therapist would do? And I started to hear these things that they thought were common for physical therapists that maybe weren't exactly true. And there was some other expertise that went into it. So getting in this online platform not only is just for my clients, but it's for everyone across the board to start understanding what our profession does, because we're freaking awesome and I love what I do.
Yeah,
and no one knows where to find us or what to do once they find us.
Yeah. So what are some of the biggest misconceptions that you heard when you started? Because essentially you were doing this market research, which I think is so key. And that's a really fun exercise to go and ask that. Because even when I say I'm a business coach, when I'm outside the coaching bubble, I just kind of get like people do a little head cock, like the little dogs that are like, what is that? What do you mean? How does that work? So people on the internet just send you money? It's very confusing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of the same thing with physical therapists. They look at us and they're like, oh yeah, you guys like do massages is one end of the spectrum. Or you go in and they give you like exercises whenever you're hurt or after surgery, which both of those are sort of true, but they're missing this whole concept of that's so awesome about physical therapy is that someone can come to me injured or not injured, and I can diagnose your movement problems. So anything in your body that's going to lead to an injury has caused the current injury to happen. And I have the ability to be able to fix those either with hands-on techniques or exercises that can immediately improve what's going on. And people also don't know like that brain connection. So the brain and the body are connected all the time. And if your brain isn't working properly, which unfortunately for most people, it's not, including myself, that aspect. So we get a ton of neuro in school. So really studying how the brain connects to the body. So our exercises aren't just to like lift your leg and strengthen it. It's to connect your brain to that leg so that you can run as fast as possible. And those are the biggest things that my clients see. Boom. Wow. This exercise correlated to me running the fastest mile time I've ever had. How did you do that? And that's awesome.
That is so powerful. And I want everyone who's listening to this to recognize what's so incredible about what you did within that is that when we have an offer or something that we're selling online, if our potential clients don't understand what it is, how it works, or even how it's going to help them get to a desired end result. Like if they've got all these objections because they don't understand it, you can't sell them your solution. So like what you've done is just kind of in stepping into the online world, you're like demystifying all of the things that previously confused people, and now creating this really clear solution to help people just feel better on every level, whether they're an athlete or not.
Exactly. And I think people, the number one objections that I kept hearing about physical therapy was the amount of time that it took to get there. And most physical therapists work 8 to 5. So majority of people that are coming to us that have, let's say, insurance, they have insurance because they're working jobs.
Right.
And so those jobs are taking them out for the majority of time. So they can't make it to their appointments. And it's not like a doctor's appointment that's once a month or once or twice a year. This is 2 times a week for maybe 6 weeks. And it was overwhelming for my clients. So people quit. They stop coming. They really never get better. And they just learn how to deal with pain, or they stop exercising. Well, when I run, it hurts all the time. Or nope, I just can't lift weights because if I do, I get back pain. And I ask them, well, have you ever tried physical therapy? No, I can't afford my deductible, and it's not that bad. And I also can't afford being off work that often. And that's where this model is life-changing for people, because all they have to do is they check in on the app. They've got exercises every day. They send me videos of how they're moving when it's convenient for them. So they'll send me a couple videos a week. Maybe at 8 o'clock at night, they're at the gym. They take a video of their squat. They send it to me. I analyze. I say, hey, you're shifting here. Let's add a couple of these exercises this week. Be aware of that. And we check in once a month, either video chat, or they can still have the option to come in person once a month. But it saves them so much time and inconvenience. It's awesome.
This is so good. And I didn't realize the level in which you had built this out with them checking in and all of this. This is so important. And I think for all of you guys, in whatever industry you're in, look at the biggest problems that people have. You identified they can't take off work. They can't come in the middle of the day, all of these things. And you've built a solution that works more for you as the person facilitating. You're like, well, this makes my life 1,000 times easier. And it makes their life easier too. And I think this really hopefully speaks to not just the people in this situation, but like the personal trainers and the people who are like dietitians who are only seeing in-person clients. And like you had shared, it causes major burnout. You're driving to the office, you're working these very specific hours, and you're not really able to make the biggest impact that for your vision, it's massive. So
yeah. And the amount of time that you're spending when you're one-on-one like that, you're spending a lot of time, which is awesome. But you can cut way back on that amount of time, and they are more compliant and they get more from you when they need it.
Yeah.
And you still get the relationship stuff. You still get to love and care about them and all the stuff that I love, because the people is the best part of my profession. And you get all of that still, and you can impact 5 times the amount of caseload with the same amount of hours, which is crazy awesome.
Yeah, this whole next level of scalability in what you're building and what's possible now with the online space is just absolutely mind-blowing. So for you, you stepped into it, you saw the vision, you came to an event that I spoke at, and you were like, had already been working together for many months, and you're like, oh my God, like now I see it even more clearly what's possible. Because there was a lot of people in that room who did have physical location businesses as well as online. What was like the biggest aha for you that shifted? Because you said there was a big shift just in being in the room with other people who are doing what you wanted to do.
The biggest shift again was that mindset stuff. It was really shutting off. I was telling myself that I wanted to do something different. I wanted to change the world of physical therapy, but then when I looked at it, I was still doing the same things the same way that I already knew that they didn't work at the scalable level that I believed physical therapy could. And so I think sitting in that room and hearing people, even hearing some people's objections in that room that were the same as mine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I could never go out of my brick and mortar. People want to just see me and they want me to put my hands on them. And hearing that stuff through someone else all of a sudden made me realize everything that I was saying out loud as well. And then in that room, no, I think there was one other person, and she's awesome. She's a PT too, and she's heading into the online space. She does women's health, and we were able to connect, and we went out to lunch, and we realized that everyone else in that room had no idea who we were or what we were doing, even when we said the word, I'm a physical therapist.
Mm.
That was when I realized no matter how big or how small this can get as far as my amount of clients, it's my duty to help people understand my profession, because that's the only way any of us are ever going to grow. That's the only way that this changes and we get the respect and the collaboration in the medical community.
Mm-hmm. This is so good. And I know too, when you were transitioning out of doing more of the in-person stuff, that was a little bit challenging to let go of that. So I'd love for you to speak to what was coming up for you during that and how you kind of worked through it, because that is a scary leap.
Yeah. I mean, I just closed down. So I've been in the online space really specifically now for about a year, where I was pushing it and helping grow, and having online only clients. But then I just left my brick and mortar business, it's been almost 3 months now.
Wow.
And I cried in the closet a lot. Most comforting place to cry ever.
Yeah.
And I felt like an epic failure closing my brick and mortar, because that's what everyone is doing. So I didn't necessarily feel empowered. I knew it was the right decision. I knew it was what I had to do for all the circumstances that were leading up to it. And you and so many other people taught me undeniably not to look away from the universe, because the universe they're shoving you in the right direction. And I felt so called to do that. But I still felt like a failure, and I had no idea what I was going to do or how I was going to make this work. And to sit down and to sit in that, especially whenever, I know that you and I talked about this, but we are looking at growing our family. So we adopted our son, and I started the business after that, and looking at trying to make this a profitable business, not just a business I'm feeding money into. And this is my family. This is us potentially having another child. This is making sure that my husband is able to work a job that he loves. This is making sure that we get a home. And it was hard, and it was ugly. It was,
Yeah.
but I realized so much of that stuff was just me, again, telling myself a story that it wasn't going to work. And once I decided that it was going to work, it all of a sudden everything opened up. I found there is a telehealth physical therapy group on Facebook that has almost 3,000 members. So all these people wanting
For doing it.
to,
Yeah.
or they want to do what I'm doing and how I've
Wow.
established it. And then I was able to become a mentor through that group, helping other people. I have PTs reaching out to me all the time on Instagram asking
Wow.
hey, can I do a 30-minute call? And I just had to make that mind shift that it was going to be okay. Just sit down, grind, figure it out, fail as fast as humanly possible, because this is coming. All medical platforms are going to be online. It's coming. People want it. They need it. They just don't understand it yet. So if I can fail faster than everyone else, and I can cry in the closet sooner than they do, then I can revolutionize what this looks like for other people. And those other people right now for me are my clients. I can revolutionize what their life looks, how they train as athletes. And that means the world to me. But I just had to step out of myself and become badass individual that I was claiming to be.
Yes. Oh my God. So good. I think one of the biggest things that you said, it's so simple, but you just decided. You said the moment I decided that like this is going to work, then it was like there's no other option. You kind of like burn the ship, so to speak. And even, I'm sure you had a lot of people in your life, family members, friends, who were like, Nicole, what are you doing? What do you mean you're closing down your physical location, your brick and mortar? Why would you do that? And most people, not only for you, not only do they not understand what a physical therapist does, but those people probably also don't understand how that would be transferred or transferable to the online world. So I know that's a big question that I get from a lot of clients of mine who are like, my family doesn't understand / support / anything, like what I'm doing. How did you navigate that?
Well, luckily my husband is the bomb.
Yes.
So I will give him like all the credit. I literally come up with these insane ideas and he is just, Nicole, live your dream. You were just meant to change the world. So I will say I am so lucky in that aspect. But from the other aspect, I literally just sat down and I started morning routines, and part of that morning routine is that I only consume content from people that I look up to. So your podcast, Chris Harder's podcast, people who are creating and living in the online space. And that's also like brute strength and some other people who are living in the CrossFit and triathlon world online with me. Those are the people that I listen to every morning. I don't listen to music anymore while I'm in the car. And when you hear those people every day, what you're doing becomes the norm. So it's normal for me to be where I'm at. So even whenever people give me objections, I just realize that it's okay. Like that's not normal for them, but that's my normal. And it really is normal in the world.
Yeah.
And so that has helped a ton. Just surround yourself with the people that are already living at least part of the life that you want to live, because then you realize that maybe you're listening to people. It's not that you can't value their opinion. I mean, I love my parents. I value their opinion. Their idea of a really successful life is like a really stable 401k, a job where they can stay. And it's not that those things aren't important to me. I was raised that they are, but right now that's not what I want to do. Those things don't match up right now, and that's okay. But I look at my other mentors and they're like, get it. Here's how you do it. And this is how you build financial stability for yourself in the future. And this is what it looks like. And I saw this whole other path that those people just don't even know that exists. And ignorance maybe for them is bliss. But for me, it wasn't bliss because I knew that this existed over here and I had to figure out how to get there.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think that's so important. Like people need to stop taking advice from people who have not had success in a thing that they're moving towards.
Yes.
Because when I was doing the online business stuff in the beginning, I had managers at previous jobs try to talk me out of leaving. Well, why don't you just stay, save up a little bit more money? I had a therapist who looked at me like I was all sorts of crazy. I was like, all right, this is not the chair I belong in. My parents were like super confused. My friends were just like, why aren't you coming out and getting drunk with us on the weekends? I don't get it. And that is a scary transition to, if you haven't done the personal development work and you're not totally solid in what you're creating. But like you're saying, you're like, I just did not listen to anybody else except the people who were living the life that I wanted. And I think that's such a good takeaway for everyone, because it's easy to just, and what happens is when we hear other people's negative stuff, it's only going to resonate for you if it's a fear that you have.
Yep.
Like we can touch somebody's skin and it feels nice and soft to be touched. But if you've got a wound there and someone goes to touch your skin, it's painful. So it's the same thing on our emotional body. If somebody says, are you sure it's really going to work? Don't you want to stay and save up that 401k and cash that in later? You're like, if that's a fear that you have deep down, all of a sudden you're triggered and you don't know why. And you're back in the closet.
Back in the closet.
Back in the closet.
I mean, let's be honest. I go back and forth, but
yes.
I think, I don't know. And that was huge for me, like listening to people that practice like that. So you and Catherine Zinkina and James Wedmore, like you guys talk a lot about whoop whoop.
Love
Um,
that.
you guys talk a lot about though that when those things come up for you and people are telling you the things that you already believe, it's just the universe asking you if you still believe it or not. And if you
Mm.
do, then hey, those are your people and you can hang out with them and that's your group, because there's people that tell me stuff that I believe now to be true. And those are my people. And I know that I'm supposed to be with them right now on this stage of life or business or wherever I'm at. Then there's other people that tell me objections that I used to believe. And I just know that it's just the universe checking in on me, just asking like, hey, are you sure you don't believe this anymore? Just wanted to make sure you're still confident in your answer and your decision. And it's nice for the universe to check in on us like that.
Yeah, I love it so much. Yeah, I just got back a few days ago from 3 days with James Wedmore and the Inner Circle Mastermind peeps. And
Awesome.
it was just shout out to James because it was the best one. This is my second year in. It was the best one that we've ever done. Like we all walked out of there just kind of on cloud nine, like holy crap. This whole other level of what's possible opened up, and James shared something really cool. And he was just like, I hope you guys recognize that this is how you can feel and are really supposed to feel or have the potential to feel at all times. Like this is your natural state. And I think for so many of us, we have like that emotional home of like stress or anxiety or frustration, and we want to go back there and fight that identity. And something just clicked for me. It's things, we've heard in different iterations before, because through source or through other people sharing it with us, but something just clicked at another level. And it was exactly that, like, oh, this is what's possible. I'm only going to listen to the things that make me feel that good. Like it was a whole other level of like feeling good and seeing the vision. And it's just so exciting to be around other people who are in that space, who see what is possible for you and who are going to pour into your vision. Yeah.
It's
It's
awesome.
so cool.
I love it. I mean, you introduced me to that stuff. I mean, my first live event,
Yeah.
and I have been like nonstop since. I'm like, I got to do the masterminds and I got to do the live events.
Got to be in the room. Yeah.
Be in the room with the people and do the work. And I think that that's the thing is tradition tells us that if we just follow in the path that everybody else has done, we will be successful.
Mm.
And so many people will be. But if you follow in the path that everyone else has done, you will only end up where they are. Like you can't surpass them. You'll just end up where they are. And maybe that's not where you're supposed to be. Maybe you're supposed to be something bigger, or maybe you're supposed to be something different. And if you just follow that, you're limiting your potential. We have like these bracelets, these refocus bands, and our business motto is today your best is enough. And so you're supposed to look at that if you think, and I say that's twofold. That's asking yourself, are you really giving your best? Or are you looking in the lane next to you, whether you're an athlete and you're looking in the lane next to you, or are you trying to beat the person in front of you at their race? But if you're only focused on that person, if they have a bad race, are you going to run slower too?
Yeah.
Or could you actually go exponentially faster if you only looked inward and you asked yourself, can I be my best self? And if you really are giving your best, even if everyone around you beats you and you gave your best, that's enough. That's enough for that day. Just be satisfied with where you are. And I think that that's been true for my athletes. It's also been true for me in this business, moving from traditional to something that's not quite as traditional.
Yes, this is so powerful because no matter what you're in, whether you're looking at your income fluctuating up and down, or your client's success fluctuating up and down, or your success, or everything has ebbs and flows. And I think when we get into that mindset that it always has to be better than yesterday, sure, you can aspire to that and work towards that. But I don't know if you got that also from the book, The Four Agreements.
Yep.
I forget the exact agreement that it was, but essentially it's saying, always do your best. And that means always do your best in this moment. Today, if you're doing CrossFit and you're just getting over the flu, well, that might not be your all-time best, but it's the best that you've got to give in this moment. And I think when I read that a couple of years ago, it really gave me that freedom to just be 100% present in what I'm doing and not compare myself to past versions of what I had done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. That alone, if no matter what you are, I mean, I tell the same thing to my client, but it's the same thing for business. And it's just, if you can look inward and check in on yourself with your circumstances for that day, then you can be the best mom in the world, even if your kid just threw up on you and you're driving to work with puke on you. And that you're still giving your best, and you're like the bomb mom that day, or you're the bomb businesswoman that day. And I think that we just have to give ourselves credit while still pushing ourselves to be our best, and celebrate while working. And that, you talk a lot about this, but that female and male, that masculine and feminine energies, and finding that calm somewhere in between the two will change everything.
Yeah. You said celebrate, and I'm curious, what are your favorite ways to celebrate, and how do you allow yourself to celebrate?
I dance a lot, and I'm really bad at it. So I'm always jumping around. I mean, I'm so calm on a call, and I'm talking to my clients, and yes, we are going to get your back pain under control. I have no doubt about this. Like, you can feel so confident that your test today really demonstrated that you're going to be better. And I'll hang up off the call, and I'm literally dancing around my living room like, yeah, I got another client. I'm going to change their life. And this is so awesome. And they're amazing. And I'm like telling my husband all about their stories. Like, they've got 2 kids and they're not able to pick them up, and now they're going to be able to pick their kids up and a barbell. And that's really fun. I also keep a journal. So, and I started this probably about 8 months ago, whenever I started my online business, because I had so many of my own negative objections. And it's full. So it's got the person's name. And then I write potentially what would have happened if they never worked with me. So, and I'll write that out, and just how I was able to impact their life. And it's just a good reminder for me, because I find myself always like, I'm not good enough, or they should have worked with somebody else, or really not even spending enough time to know, like, once this client's better, I'm on to the next client. And I'm happy for them, and I'll follow their journey, but I don't really like relish in the fact that, hey, in the last year, I've worked with 150 athletes.
Wow.
And they're all back in the gym. That's amazing. And I just don't take the time to celebrate that from that type of impact level. I do it like from a daily thing. So I do that as well. And I love looking back and being reminded of how awesome and how hard those people worked, as well as how hard I was able to work with them.
Oh, I love this so much. I feel like you should have a little ticker thing on your website that says, has a little thing about the number of athletes that you got back in the gym.
Ooh, I love that. Okay, I need my pen.
You're like, let me write that down.
I know. I'm like, and journal out. That would be awesome.
That is such a transformation that you are giving people. And that's a lot of athletes whose lives are forever changed because of you. And I know what you were speaking to earlier of, my ankle injury, but like, I went through that too, where I had broken my ankle and just kind of threw my hands up in the air, went to a physical therapist who wasn't super great. And I was like, well, I'm just my ankle is forever weakened. I guess this is just how it's going to be. I can't really run anymore. And then in going to a physical therapist / chiropractor who did all the exercises, they were like, no, you can strengthen it. And then he cracked my ankle, and I realized I had been trying to run on an ankle that was severely out of alignment for 3 years. And I had no idea. And I was like, oh my God, I can walk without it clicking. For 3 years, it was wild. It was life-changing.
And what's wild to me is that story is
not unique. Like,
not unique at all.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart. That's why I said I can't stay in the brick and mortar. I can't stay right here and just impact these people. I have to be out here on this platform, not only impacting people and having clients that are working with me, but also giving away free resources so that people like you and anyone else listening to this, you can go and you can consume enough knowledge to know that you can be better and you've just got to find the right person to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the cool things like in my business too, is that I'm licensed in several states now, but if someone is actually injured, so physical therapy is a state to state license. So what I do in my business is that if you would call me, so you're from New York, you set up a video chat, you pay for an assessment, I triage you. And so I would say, you know what, Jen, you actually still need some formal hands-on physical therapy. What I want to do is I'm going to call some people and I'm going to tell them your story and I'm going to ask them questions and find you the best clinician that's close to you. Because I have a lot of resources that people don't know are out there with different certifications that you can have, that kind of stuff that really shows you they're a high level clinician. So I find that person for you. And then if that's all we work together, that's fine. But some people will work with their physical therapist, and then my CrossFitters and my triathletes, they still work with me too. And I modify their programming and their training because that's my niche and that's so specific. And then their physical therapist is doing their one-on-one, their hands-on that they still need. And that teamwork really helps people get to the right place. And again, changes how people view physical therapy.
Wow. This is so good. And I'm excited that our audience right now is being educated around this, because a lot of my listeners are in the health and wellness field and have clients, or them themselves are doing home workouts and they don't have somebody watching them, and things tend to go wrong. Like things do. I remember when I was doing some at home workouts and they were like, you need to stop doing those immediately. And I was like, no, take that away from me. It wasn't about the home workouts. It was about the misalignment, which you shared in your story, which you didn't really get into on here, but like that you did CrossFit one day and you couldn't lift up a barbell.
Yeah.
And then you realized that you could share it, that you were ready to go and treat the point of pain, but that wasn't the point where the misalignment actually was.
Yeah. So I actually tore my rotator cuff and I tore my labrum in my shoulder from doing CrossFit, and I'm extremely, extremely inflexible. And so I decided to take a step back, and then I just rehabbed myself from the ground up. And I learned a lot about what my athletes need. And I also learned a lot about what I needed. So a lot of my problem was in my back and the way that I stacked the barbell and all of those kinds of things. So once I figured that stuff out, I mean, I have no issues. I did 100 pull-ups. So like we did Murph on Memorial Day, which is a huge CrossFit workout. I did 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and you run a mile in the beginning and the end.
Whoa.
My shoulder did not bother me at all. It feels awesome, even though technically on an MRI, I still have a torn rotator cuff and I still have a torn labrum. Some people still need surgery, but I was not a good surgical candidate. And I knew that from my knowledge. And so I was able to really work together and find stuff for myself to keep me off the operating table and get me back to doing what I wanted to do. And that's really where my passion lies for other people. But the home workouts. Okay. So I want to tell all your people this.
Yes.
So home workouts, you guys. So I have a Facebook group, and it's called Mobility Athletes, and it is free. You guys can submit on there any videos that you want of doing a movement, and I will analyze that for you. And I just post it in the comments, a video back to you on a couple of things that I would do to improve it. And then if you have more questions, we can follow up from there. But the whole analysis is free. So if you're wondering if your plank looks horrible or if it looks right, just literally take a short video of you doing one and send it to me, or your squat or whatever. So you can go on there and you can do that. And then also my website, mobilityathletes.com, there is a free chat box on there. So you can click on there and you can ask me a question. Hey, my shoulder's been bothering me every time I do push-ups. I'm not sure if it's serious or not. What do you think? And you and I can have a text chat back and forth about that. And those are 2 free resources that I have for you guys that you can, even personal trainers, you guys can get on there and ask me questions about your clients. I would love to collaborate.
Oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful gift that you're giving people.
Yay!
I love it so much. And you're also on Instagram. Where can people find you on Instagram?
Yep. So we are on Instagram at Mobility Athletes as well. So website and the Facebook group, and also the Instagram are all the same, Mobility Athletes. And then if you guys want more resources, you guys can also go to mobilityphysicaltherapyllc.com, but that Mobility Athletes will take you there as well if you just click for more resources.
Okay, cool. And we will link all of that up for you guys in the show notes
Yay!
so that you can go check it out. Before we jump off, I want to know, is there any last like nuggets of wisdom for entrepreneurs right now who are stepping into this new world?
Yeah, I think my nugget of wisdom is don't try to be where somebody else is. So you are wanting to be an entrepreneur because you want to buck tradition. That's just what we like to do. That's why you're in this space. And that's what you're called to do. So don't get pulled into the traditional model if it doesn't work for you and what you really see for your future. Just go ahead and change it. Even if it doesn't work in the beginning, fail fast, pick up your feet and keep going, because I promise you it will work on the back end. I have grown exponentially in the last 2 months once I just changed my mindset, and that was everything for me.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
So grateful that you were here to share all your brilliance and also to bust some myths about people's bodies and physical therapy. Because I know, like I said, we've got a lot of health and fitness people here who are going to be really excited about what's possible now that they have this knowledge and you as this amazing resource. So thank you. I just love and adore you so much. And guys, go connect with Nicole. Seriously. She's amazing. She's such a giver, and she's about to heal the world.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Can't wait to talk with you all more. Or you can also check out, we just launched the podcast today.
Oh my God, get out.
Yep.
Okay,
Mobility.
we're recording this on the 10th. So if people are hearing this after,
oh yeah,
it's out.
Mobility Athletes Radio, go check that out as well. Another free resource for you, and it's going to link up to our YouTube channel for actual videos of all the stuff that we talk about. So epic things on there as well. And I love all this stuff. Thank you, Jen, for always being my mentor. You're great, and you're changing the world as well.
Thank you. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.